So this is the Spotify car thing. It was created to give drivers in the Spotify ecosystem an easier and less distracting way to interact with their music. Spotify originally offered this in a pilot program to premium users for free, but have recently opened it up to people waitlisted to purchase one if they wanted to for $79.99 US. Now free is an amazing deal, but I was not fortunate enough to get that invite, so let's see if this is worth the $80 price tag. When you receive your package from Spotify, this is what you get. The car thing itself feels nice in the hand and looks really good with a subtle textured plastic housing. On top, we have what looks like an array of 4 different microphones, probably to provide some form of noise cancellation for voice controls. Right next to them, we have 5 buttons. These 4 are for assigning music lists to a button preset, so you can jump back and forth easily between your favorite music. With this one here on the far right to access the system settings. Here you have a fat, easy to use knob which is critical when you're driving. Its function changes depending on where you are in the UI, but essentially lets you scroll around, make selections, and change the volume. Under the knob is a back button that lets you back out to the previous menu. The display on this thing is 4 inches, which initially seemed a bit small, but Spotify did a pretty good job with the UI scaling to make the elements on the screen easy to see and read while driving, with the display getting just bright enough to still be easily visible on sunny days. We also have this little Spotify accent tag, which is kind of cool. To power this, a 12-volt cigarette outlet adapter with 2 USB outputs capable of 5 volts, 3.1 amps, and a braided USB cable are included. In this pile over here, there are a variety of included mounting options that are surprisingly well designed, and honestly, if they sold this separately, I would actually consider buying this from my other devices. The most important part of this mounting system is this magnet adapter. On the magnet side, there's a couple things going on here. First, the magnet that they decided to use on this is awesome and provides a really solid attachment point. I secured the car thing in both of my cars without any issues, and one of them has a pretty rough ride thanks to the coilovers, so I was pretty impressed. The magnet side also has this angle here so you can fine tune how things are mounted relative to your dash. On the other side, we have this socket mechanism that attaches to one of the many included mounting options. And what's nice about this is that it has these little notches here that allow you to attach this to the included mounts in different positions to provide additional adjustment angles. So that was the car thing side of the mount, but to attach a setup to your car, you have 3 options. My personal favorite is the vent mount, which mounts in 2 different spots, making it really sturdy. You also get the CD slot mount that is held in by tension, and a dash mount that uses adhesive. Now this one gets a bit messy, so make sure you have it where you want it before you fully commit. Once you pick the best mounting option for your car, it's really easy to snap everything together and mount it. What's nice about this setup is that it's also really easy to tuck away if you want to keep your electronics out of sight. Alright, so the first thing you should even know about how Car Things even works is that the device itself doesn't have a data connection or a way to connect to your stereo directly, and only acts as the interface to select your music. This means that it relies on your phone's internet connection and your phone's connection to your car with either a USB cable if you already have Android Auto or CarPlay, a 3.5mm aux cable, or Bluetooth in order to actually stream music through your car's speaker. So if you're hoping to use this as an independent streaming device, unfortunately, it isn't possible. Getting set up is very straightforward. When you first boot up Car Thing, you'll be greeted by a startup menu that has a QR code that you can scan to open the pairing menu on your phone. Follow the on-screen instructions and bam, you are connected. Super straightforward. To navigate around Car Thing's UI, you essentially have 2 methods. Physical, using a combination of the touchscreen along with the dials and buttons, and voice with the Hey Spotify trigger. With the physical controls, you can move around the menus with swipes and taps, but you can also do the same with the dial as well, which is really nice because I found using the dial much easier to use while driving. Once you've selected a song, you can play or pause using the on-screen icon or pressing down on the dial. You can tap here for previous or next songs, or swipe left or right on the screen as well. To change your volume, turn the dial left or right. To go to the previous menu, there is a dedicated back button to bail you out, and if you're ever far back enough, the UI will just return you back to your currently playing song, which is a really nice touch since you don't have to mentally keep track of where you are in the menu system. Leaving Car Thing idle in a menu long enough will also return you to the currently playing song. If you're playing a song from a playlist that you're really enjoying and you want that playlist easily accessible, from the current song screen, hold down one of the 4 preset buttons at the top will save the playlist into that slot. So next time, Top 50 USA will be a button press away. You can also access the same menu by swiping down from the top as well. If you're into voice controls, the trigger for this is Hey Spotify, and you can follow up with a number of commands. For example, Hey Spotify, next song, or Hey Spotify, save to preset 3. Personally, I don't use voice commands that often, but from what I've seen, Car Thing hasn't had an issue understanding what I wanted in the Tesla, but did have some trouble in the Evo, which is admittedly much louder, so not gonna fault Car Thing here. One thing to note is that technically steering wheel media controls do work as well, but only if your phone is connected through either USB or Bluetooth, since these protocols communicate to your phone. Aux, for example, is just an audio source, so that of course won't work. With the control functionality out of the way, I wanted to talk about the overall experience of using Car Thing. Right now, the settings that are available to users is pretty limited. I get there's only so many tuning knobs that you can give a user on a device like this, but one that I really would have liked to see included is a manual brightness control. The display itself gets bright enough, but you're at the mercy of the unit's dimmer software and sensors. So sometimes you'll be driving and you'll hit a shadow just right and the screen will go absolutely dim. Aside from that, EQ adjustments would have been nice as well, especially when pairing this with older vehicles that may or may not have granular audio controls. The overall performance of the unit is just okay. There are moments where you can clearly see slowdowns. Lagginess from touch inputs and drop frames can be really apparent during normal usage and seems to get worse during sunny days when you're getting a ton of heat soak. With that said, while there are slowdowns, it's not like your phone where you need immediate responses, so overall this device does what it sets out to do. What I found really useful about the Car Thing is its ability to add multiple devices, which by extension means it supports multiple Spotify accounts. This is really useful even in new cars like this Tesla Model Y that, while it does come with Spotify integration, only supports one account at a time. That means if I'm signed in and someone else uses the car and plays music, I get booted off of my phone or desktop, but not if we use Car Thing since they can just add their phone and profile. Another quality of life feature that I also really like on the Car Thing is that it automatically downloads the next few songs in advance. So if you're on a road trip and there are areas of spotty connection, you can listen to the cached songs until your data connection is restored. However, a dedicated offline mode is sorely missed here. There were many instances in my recent road trip where I was out of cell range for longer than Spotify was able to cache, which was really annoying. Now, the last thing I want to talk about before we go into the final thoughts is that while this device is called Car Thing, you can actually use this outside of your vehicle. For example, I have the Car Thing paired to this really cheap OnePlus Nord phone that is connected to my Sonos system. I don't use this often, but this is a really cool and easy way to give guests access to my Spotify account and the ability to change up songs that they might want to listen to throughout the night. So to sum things up, Spotify's Car Thing is a surprisingly well-designed and useful product for premium Spotify users. The included mounts provide a nice variety of options to fit pretty much any vehicle out there and secure enough for some of the roughest rides. Aside from some performance hiccups, Car Thing is a pleasure to use and displays the details you need without providing too much that you get information overload. It provides multiple ways to interact with it, whether it's through the voice commands, physical dials and buttons, or the 4-inch touchscreen, making it easy for users to adapt. So would I recommend this to you guys? First off, if you got invited to the free access program, it's obviously a no-brainer. Do it. However, if you're like me and you have to shell out the $80+, you'll have to think a bit harder on how much having Spotify on a dedicated screen is worth to you. I can see this being worth it if you're the type of driver that needs to constantly have Google Maps pulled up and want easy access to Spotify, or want easily accessible Spotify profiles in shared vehicles like I do. Uber and Lyft drivers could also use this in the back seat to give their patrons control of music as an added perk as well. Owners of older vehicles that don't have modern infotainment systems will probably benefit from this the most. Spending $80 to breathe new life into older stereos is a relatively small price to pay when I think about the over $400 I paid for a dedicated Android Auto double din unit for my car, along with the time and effort it took to make everything fit, which was a crazy process and would have cost a whole lot more if I didn't do it myself. Yeah, I know Android Auto does a whole lot more, but the price delta reflects that, so you get the idea. Looking at the feature set, I'm thinking that a price point of $40 to $50 is more appropriate since you're kind of subsidizing the cost since premium subscription is required. For $80 though, I would really like to see more basic features from the app included, like the full-fledged offline mode, but things like manual brightness control and EQ would have been a nice start. If you guys have already bought into this, let me know in the comments how it's been working out for you. Well, that's it for today. Like and subscribe, it really helps me out, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.